So I want to move on to the next part of our program here, which is the song deep dives.
Love it.
So you had a lot of songs that I was like, really, man, I would love to talk about all of these. But the one that I'm really glad you gave the thumbs up on was BoyWithUke's Loafers.
Yeah.
Such a great sounding lo-fi record. I'm super jealous, and I'm going to ask you about this, about how you get, and mostly in the lo-fi stuff, like how your kicks just fucking hit so good. And that one is a start there. But what's the story behind that record? How'd that record come to fruition?
It's so funny that this is like one of the songs that we picked.
Yeah.
Like I love this song, and I'm actually very proud of the production, and I'm glad because I'm probably the most proud producer wise of this song of all of like my like sort of lo-fi-ish era. And it's not quite, it's like a little more like indie pop, bedroom pop, but it's very much from that era of my career. And I'm probably the most proud of this production. So I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But it came about, I had a song, a ukulele based song of mine from an artist project called Say Goodbye that was like doing really well on TikTok. And I was just getting literally thousands of comments saying, this sounds like BoyWithUke. And so and I actually didn't know who he was. Yeah. And this was like just before he'd gotten like really popular, but he was very big. He was like really big on TikTok. Anyway, so I like followed or he commented on it or something. I don't know. And so we connected on TikTok just as like acquaintances.
Right.
And so we were like mutuals for 6 months. And then one day he kind of just hit me up asking for if I could send him some beats, which I thought was cool because he's up until that point had produced all of his own stuff.
Right.
But I was at a cottage with my family and I was like, I had no beats for him. So I like really, I just like really scraped the bottom because I would have made him beats.
Right.
But I couldn't. I was busy. And I don't think I had my laptop with me. So I like scraped the bottom of the barrel for 3 beats. And the beat I sent him was like 3 years old and was like such a nothing idea that I like, not nothing, I guess, because it turned into a song, but like, it was not a beat I was proud of. Right. And it was incredibly like unfinished. I never would have touched it again if it weren't for this exact scenario. And it was basically just the guitar riff, but it was on an acoustic guitar. And then the kick and the bass line part after. And he just loved it. And he tracked the whole song to it, you know, probably that day or something like that. Sent it to me. And then I just started producing it out. And it was actually like 2 days before I moved to LA. So I like did it half in Toronto and then half in an Airbnb in LA.
Crazy.
So yeah, and the acoustic guitar on it or the electric guitar, excuse me. Yeah. So he had me redo it as an electric guitar. Was when I moved to LA in the middle of producing a song, I flew with my guitar, which is like a Mexican-made Fender Strat.
Hey, I've spoken about the Mexican-made stuff on this podcast many times, and I think the Mexican-made Fender stuff is incredible.
I have Mexican-made Fender stuff that's great. This guitar is not one of them.
Oh, it's not one.
My Strat
swear
sucks.
by them.
But yes, I have a P bass that's Mexican-made. Yeah. That's really good. But my Strat just sucks. I've had it for a long time, and I've just treated it poorly, and so that's probably why it sounds like shit. Anyway, the airline lost it, so I had no electric guitar. But I show up at the Airbnb, and they have a Squier Strat that sounds amazing. And so I used it for all the guitars on the song. I thought about asking the guy if he wanted to trade, because I was like, I much prefer this guitar. I kind of wish I did, actually.
Yeah.
Or just swapping it out. He would never notice. But anyway, the airline eventually found my guitar, which was a bummer. And anyway, so that's how it came about. And I finished producing it in an Airbnb, and there you go. And it was like 3 days before, not 3 days. It was like a matter of a week or two because he was like putting out an EP, and he snuck this song on there. And it was the EP that had his song Toxic. I don't know how locked in you are on board, but that was like his big breakout hit. So this song also just like by virtue of being on the EP was a big song, ended up doing pretty well. Yeah. So there you go.
Dude, crazy. Yeah, I mean, my first question about that song specifically, and it's like, it's in a lot of records I notice that you do, again, in more of the lo-fi things, but what's your approach with kick drums? Is it just good sample picking? Or are you doing something to like, it's my favorite kind of kick drum where it's like that subby, short, like oomph, like heartbeat kind of thing.
I have a kick sample that is like my like the for one. That stuff that I use on pretty much every like lo-fi song. I would tell you what the sample is, but it's literally just called Kick 3.
It's a random fact.
But it's just so fucking goated. It's in a lot of the lo-fi hip-hop drum kits, so I'm sure people have used it. But people do say, I actually haven't noticed this just because this type of music I've been doing has changed so much, but like, hip hop producers that I know who've changed from FL Studio to Ableton or any other DAW.
Right.
Like there's an FL Studio knock that's
Yes,
apparently
no,
just so real.
It does a thing.
So there
Yeah.
you go. So maybe if I did that record now, like you wouldn't be asking me about the kicks.
Yeah.
But it is a specific sample. There's no particularly interesting processing. The way I was processing kicks then was, I assume, get a little nerdy with it.
Yeah, no, please.
Is the wave shaper in FL Studio. I just crank a little bit. I'd put like a bit crusher on it. But actually with the bit, because I was like, oh, it's cool. Like the bit crusher is cool. I actually wasn't bit crushing. It turns out there's just a filter in the bit crusher.
That's all you.
So there's like a tiny little bit of low pass filter going on. So that's actually what it was. But I thought it was bit crushing at the time. And then what I would do in FL Studio, and obviously I don't do this